I think that what just happened could potentially tell us that the 900,000 Bitcoin paper attack just ended. What are we talking about? Of course, we're talking about what just happened between Blackrock and Coinbase, because we have some breaking news that we need to talk about this Sunday. We can see right here, in-kind Bitcoin ETF redemptions have just started. Now, why is this important? Why is this interesting? Why am I so fascinated about what Blackrock is doing? Well, because we have been talking about the connection between Blackrock and Coinbase for a very, very long time here. We know that only 4 months ago, the world's largest asset manager and the world's largest exchange had to publicly amend their initial Bitcoin agreement, their custody agreement that they had. Something else that I think is really interesting, that this custody amendment happened at the same time that we're witnessing an exodus of Coinbase. We can see by this chart here that literally millions of Bitcoin, maybe not millions, hundreds of thousands of coins have been evaporating from Coinbase's exchange. And again, let's not forget that at the same time all of this Bitcoin was leaving Coinbase, they coincidentally came out with a wrapped version of Bitcoin called WBTC. And today I'm going to be putting all of these very interesting puzzle pieces together to just have a look at what might be happening, because we've at length on this channel talked about the very strange things that BlackRock has been saying about Bitcoin, whether it's their most recent video that, as you can see, has caught a lot of attention. Let's look at this headline. BlackRock has a new Bitcoin video ad and Bitcoiners hate it. Of course, that is because of the disclaimer that BlackRock hid inside this video. The biggest Bitcoin account of them all, Michael Saylor, even retweeted this video. But we showed you the day after it launched that there was some interesting things about this video that I think warrants paying attention to. And again, I'm just kind of setting the scene here of all of the things that BlackRock has done so that the most recent news has a little bit more weight behind it. And you can kind of see the context and the framing of everything that is going on with this BlackRock, Coinbase, and potential paper Bitcoin situation that I think we're living through. I want to be careful. I want to call it an attack, but I think it's more of a potential attack. I think that's a better way to be thinking about what BlackRock is saying about Bitcoin. Now, why do I use the word attack? I know that's a big inflammatory claim, so to say, but why is it an attack? Well, I think it all goes back to this original thing that we saw that BlackRock released in their initial Bitcoin ETF filing, where they said very clearly, very explicitly, the sponsor, this is of course BlackRock talking about themselves, us, BlackRock, we are under no obligation to choose the most economic chain of Bitcoin if there is a hard fork. I want to be diving into this and all of the puzzle pieces I briefly mentioned in this long introduction in today's video. But I think first, now that you're aware of all of the interesting puzzle pieces that I think we're going to be covering today, I want to have a look at the most recent news that came out this week. So this is it here. We can see Nasdaq seeks amendment to BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF for in-kind redemptions. So what does this mean? Let's break it down in simple terms. So right now, the way that the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF product works, and all of the ETF products work, is they are cash redemptions. So they are not in kind. Now, what does in kind mean? That means that you can deposit Bitcoin into the ETF product, and when you want to sell your shares of that ETF product, you are returned Bitcoin. That is in-kind species. That is a Bitcoin ETF. You put Bitcoin into it, you get Bitcoin out of it. That is what in-kind means. Now, cash redemption is, as the name suggests, you put cash in and you get cash out, okay? That is what a cash redemption ETF product is. Now, this is why some people, even myself, have said, hey, look, there's some potential red flags here with these ETF products. Okay. Yes, there are a lot of public addresses that people are saying those addresses belong to BlackRock. And we can see many of those addresses on the blockchain. So it's impossible to be 100% sure of anything in life, but we can be relatively certain that BlackRock is buying real Bitcoin. But a lot of Bitcoiners, a lot of diehard Bitcoiners have long said it would be a lot more positive and it would be a lot more reassuring, so to say, if we actually had in-kind redemptions from BlackRock, because some people made a little bit of a fuss or kicked up a little bit of a stink, I should say, earlier in the year when Coinbase essentially said the quiet parts out loud. Coinbase essentially said, you have to trust us. And this created a little bit of a stir in September. So let's start putting a little bit of a chronological timeline on what happened. So we can see here in September 2024, we made a video on this as soon as it happened, but there could be some new people watching. Welcome to anyone who might be new to the channel or anyone who is in the crowd today who might be new. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a refresher on why we should be cautious, on why I'm paying very close attention to what Coinbase and BlackRock is doing. We can see this article is written in September. Is Coinbase issuing paper Bitcoin to BlackRock and other ETFs? Now, why was there a lot of interesting stories circulating at the time? Well, that was because in September, we can see this tweet here from the CEO of Coinbase himself, Brian Armstrong, essentially said, you have to trust us, bro. That's literally what he said. He essentially said all of the Bitcoin transactions, they happen off chain. And he said, sorry, but this is what it looks like if you want a bunch of institutional money to flow in to Bitcoin. He also references CBBTC. Oi, what's that? You're trusting a centralized custodian to store the underlying Bitcoin. We've never claimed otherwise. So this tweet really kicked off a little bit of a shit show, so to say. I was going to watch my language, but hey, it's Sunday. I'm sorry if you got the kids watching at home. This is probably not the stream for them. So we can see very clearly that Brian Armstrong essentially said that a lot of these transactions, they happen off-chain, so to say. And this created an absolute shit show amongst Twitter and the Bitcoin space. Everybody was talking about it. As you can see, everybody was, even Eric Balkunas here popped this tweet out. This meme's incredible. Gold bugs to Bitcoin is worried that ETFs don't actually hold the underlying asset. Again, Eric Balkunas, he's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter. He's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. And what I think is interesting is we of course made a video about it on the channel when this was all happening. And we can see here, here's another article written about BlackRock's secret Bitcoin deals. Oh boy, I love a little bit of a secret here on the Bitcoin BlackRock Coinbase shenanigans. BlackRock's secret Bitcoin deals. Coinbase CEO defends against the off-chain settlement rumors. Look at the date of this. This is September 2024. So all of the hoo-ha, it was all happening on December 2024. It was all happening, okay? We made a video about it. We said, look, pay very close attention to what BlackRock and Coinbase are doing. We were cautious. We were skeptical. We were warning you guys. We even made multiple videos. We might have made multiple videos in the same week warning you guys about what was going on. Here it is. Here's the channel. Here's the receipts. We can see paper Bitcoin attack is over. This was 4 months ago. This is in September when it was happening. We also made this other video, paper Bitcoin attack. It just got worse. Tell you what's worse. Have a look at Luke's haircut in that old stream from 4 months ago. Boy, oh boy, look at that backdrop as well. Terrible lighting. I apologize. I hope today's mildly better. Certainly not on the haircut front, but maybe the backdrop's slightly better than it was 4 months ago, I hope. But what I want to show you guys is, look, we've been covering this and we've been paying very close attention to what is going on. And since all of this hoo-ha, let's remember what happened in September. In September, when everybody was talking about it, when everybody was saying we need to be very cautious of what BlackRock and Coinbase are doing and saying we should not be trusting these institutions with our Bitcoin. Again, that is the revolution of Bitcoin. Holding the goddamn thing in your own self-custody. We shouldn't be trusting Coinbase. We shouldn't be trusting BlackRock. These behemoth institutions have too much power. And the fact that they're openly saying, yeah, just trust us, bro. Yeah, okay, we've got hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, but we don't need to publicly actually show you the Bitcoin in our addresses. I believe only one of the ETFs does that. Is it Bitwise? The others don't. Does Bitwise, there might be another one. Someone in the chat will tell me. I've got an incredible group of researchers in the chat who always make sure I'm on the ball here on the channel. For the 652 of you guys tuning in on a Sunday afternoon between Twitter and YouTube, welcome if you are here. I apologize if I was late and you were waiting for this stream to get started. Had a crazy day. Oh, look at that, 666 people in the live stream. Boy, that's a number. But again, I think what's really interesting is after all of this crazy news that happened in September, there was a lot of outroar from the community on Twitter. Crazy YouTubers with shit haircuts like myself. We were saying, this is bullshit. We should get transparency. We want transparency. What happened? And why is it related to what just happened this week? Again, we're going to bring it all full circle in a minute for you guys. What I think is interesting is BlackRock and Coinbase were forced to change their rules. BlackRock amends Coinbase custody agreement to require 12-hour withdrawals amid debt rumors. Read that headline for you one more time. Debt rumors. Boy, oh boy. So I think this is an interesting example of how the Bitcoin community is forcing these large institutions to bend the knee to Bitcoin and bend the knee to the sovereignty principles that we abide by. Self-custody, on-chain transparency. We haven't got it yet from BlackRock, but I think the most recent news is a sign that we are moving in that direction. We could be getting close to potentially having paper Bitcoin behind us. I would love to see it. And again, we got Slam Boogie, the man with my favorite name today in the chat, says River shows their customers the Bitcoin custody that they have. It's a great point. River is a great company. And I love the fact that they're very transparent. Again, I don't have an affiliate link to give you guys River. I just think they're a great Bitcoin only company. Check them out. I really like what they do. So again, this is something we like to see. We like to encourage the companies actually doing well by their customers. Because again, there's a lot of companies in Bitcoin. A lot of them are doing it wrong. It is really as simple as that. A lot of the companies are doing things wrong. You know what? This is actually potentially a little bit of a seamless transition, so to say, because there are a few companies doing things right in the Bitcoin space. Not only River, there are exchanges who actually abide by the rules of self-sovereignty that we all love as Bitcoiners, as diehard Bitcoiners. One of those companies is a publicly traded company. They're not just a publicly traded company in Canada. You can get access to the Bitcoin well everywhere. And again, I'm always happy to let you guys know that if you are looking for a place to buy your Bitcoin, again, check out River, like Slam Boogie in the chat here says, they're a great option. But we think the Bitcoin wallet is also another great option. They are a great Bitcoin exchanges. They're a great Bitcoin exchange, that encourages their users to all self-custody their Bitcoin, okay? To use the exchange, you have to self-custody by default. We absolutely love that about the Bitcoin world because they combine not only the principles of being a Bitcoin-only exchange, but they also combine that with the principles of self-custodying your Bitcoin. So check out what the Bitcoin well is doing. Again, I'm a part of the Green Candle community, so you can use that link in the description down below to potentially go into the draw, not potentially, you will go into the draw to potentially win 1 million sats. So we highly recommend you check out what the Bitcoin Well is doing. And again, they promote self-custody by default. While we're talking about self-custody, while you're getting a hardware wallet, I also like to remind you guys, please do not make the number one critical mistake that most people make in the Bitcoin space when they get a hardware wallet. So many people get a hardware wallet and then they make the mistake of writing down their very precious 12 or 24 Bitcoin backup words on a flimsy piece of paper. I always encourage you guys, don't do that. Bitcoin is generational wealth. Do not be the guy or the gal. Again, welcome to the gals if there's any gals on the channel. Do not be the person who has a Bitcoin hardware wallet and then they've backed up their Bitcoin on paper. Okay, it's not diversified. You don't have optionality in your Bitcoin setup. I always encourage you guys to check out the steel plates that Stampseed make. They're a great option in the Bitcoin space for you guys to really take your self-custody to the next level. Okay, like I said, there is so many people in California who recently tragically had their homes burned down. And if you had your Bitcoin hardware wallet and your Bitcoin backup words written down on a piece of paper, I'm sorry to tell you, but your Bitcoin, that's gone. That is absolutely gone. This is why I always encourage you guys to check out the titanium plates that you can get from Stampseed. I've just gone crawling around the home and look at that, I've found them. I have those Stampseed plates everywhere I go with me. It actually reminds me, one of you guys reached out to me and I have been meaning to get back to you to have a little bit of a chat to you about how you can deal with airport security with these things. It's not as hard as it sounds, by the way, because I do travel with these things everywhere, believe it or not. I'm in Peru right now. I had these things in Colombia last week. So check out the titanium plates you can get from Stampseed. You can get 15% off anything you want to buy from Stampseed with the promo code Luke15. Should be linked down below as well. So let's talk a little bit more about this self-custody rabbit hole. I'm actually going to answer some controversial questions in the chat as well before we do talk about this most recent amendment for in-kind redemptions happening to BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. Again, this is the news. This is really interesting to see what's most recently happened. But I always tell you guys, I'm going to answer the questions. It was actually the questions there that reminded me we had show sponsors there for a minute. So thank you to who reminded me there about self-custody. But I want to answer the questions because somebody asked me how much Bitcoin I've got. Okay, now I definitely would not refer to myself as an influencer. I hate that word. But what I will say is I like transparency. I think any shitcoiner, any crypto person who showed you what their portfolio actually looks like, it would surprise most of you guys because a lot of these guys are shilling their trading courses or they're shilling XYZ shitcoin or altcoin. But if you actually look in their own portfolio, they've actually got a lot of Bitcoin. I don't know if you were asking me. Oh, you were, Gio. Okay, you first, Luke. Show your Bitcoin. I would never show you how much Bitcoin I've got, but I will tell you that 99.9% of my net worth is in Bitcoin, and maybe 1% is not in Bitcoin, just for everyday traveling expenses and things like that. So again, I've been very transparent with how much, with what I hold in my portfolio. It's Bitcoin. It's 100% Bitcoin. I've made a lot of videos about MicroStrategy, and I've openly said, hey, congratulations if you own MicroStrategy. You've outperformed my dumbass. I don't hold stocks. I don't hold bonds. I don't hold tech stocks. I don't hold Bitcoin beta plays like the mining stocks or MSTR. Just don't have the time. And for me, I just like to keep it super simple. Speaking about super simple, McLovin's asking if I've got a new shirt. I will tell you, this is not a new shirt. I've only got two I wear for live streams. One of them has the stains up here on the right shoulder. The other one has the stains. Wonder if you can see it now. There we go. We'll call that some more toothpaste stains there on the bottom of my shirt. But if I come and stand a bit closer to the camera, you can't see my the stains on that shirt. So definitely not a new shirt, McLovin. Just trying to answer as many questions as possible. You guys are blowing me up. There's 943 of you guys in the live stream. Let's see if we can break 1,000 here on here on a Sunday between Twitter and YouTube. If you are enjoying the tangents I'm going on today, as All Night Hider says, we would appreciate a smoking of the like button. And what does he say? Cheech and Chong. I've never heard of that expression before. Please explain that for my smooth brain in the live chat there, All Night Hider. Now let's talk more about this most recent news. And I'll circle back to questions here at the end of the stream. Nasdaq seeks redemption to Blackrock's Bitcoin ETF for in-kind redemptions. Again, we really are permeating the mainstream here. The Nasdaq's just a lazy $26 trillion equity market. Would you call it the Nasdaq a market? My brain's a little bit slow. I need more steak. It's not working. The Nasdaq is a collection of stocks. Okay, it's the 100 biggest tech companies. That's the Nasdaq. They are $26 trillion in size. They're big. Okay, but what's interesting is we can see here, Nasdaq right now has proposed to allow for in-kind transfers for Bitcoin. This is with the new SEC commission. No more Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is gonzo. He's out of here. This, again, this is why I don't like TradFi. They just complicate things. Have a look at this in-kind redemption model. Again, I'm not gonna break all of this down for you guys, but I think by the looks of it, no, I don't know what it looks like by the looks of it. I was about to say these were the two different models, but as you can see, this is why I'm just not a fan of TradFi. Look at how complicated this is. You have to go through how many different steps? 5B, 5C. So there's step 1, step 1A, step 1B, 2, 2A, 2B, 3. Then we got 4, 4A, 4B, 4C, 5, 5A, 5B, 5C. This is how many ridiculous steps there is in TradFi. This is why I always tell you guys, for the love of God, just self-custody your Bitcoin. I mean, I was on a dinner with a lovely lady. Was it? Okay, it was last night. I'm going to give her away. And she was asking me about the Bitcoin ETFs. I was like, look, just ignore the ETFs. Just buy the underlying Bitcoin. Okay, again, Bitcoin is going mainstream. Everybody's hearing about these ETFs. And I was essentially trying to explain what I just explained then. There's all these complicated steps with these ETF products. It's incredible. It's crazy. It's mind-numbing. Sorry, I get distracted by the chat so easily. It shouldn't be a part of what we're doing here. I mean, again, yes, TradFi was always going to adopt Bitcoin. Bitcoin was always going to get ETFs. TradFi would always try to control Bitcoin. TradFi was always going to put TradFi rules and regulations on top of Bitcoin. I think eventually the portion of the Bitcoin network that is touching the TradFi rails and the portion of the Bitcoin network that has to abide by these 48 different steps of the in-kind Bitcoin redemption model, I hope it's going to shrink because it's so much easier to just take one step, and that is self-custody your Bitcoin. Take it off an exchange and you control it. You don't have to go through all of these different steps with the market makers, the transfer agents, the authorized participants, the listing exchange, the ETF issuer. Look at all the mess. I mean, honestly, it's ridiculous. It really is. It really is just ridiculous. Okay. Now, I want to talk more about Blackrock because we've kind of broken down why this chart is so crazy and annoying. But I think it's interesting right now because of this headline here. IBIT continues to see inflows. We do need to pay a little bit of attention to what Blackrock is doing because, as we can see right now, they're squatting on 527,000 Bitcoin. That is about 2.5% of all of the Bitcoin in existence. It's pretty crazy to think about. They are fast approaching 630,000 Bitcoin. That would give them 3% of the overall Bitcoin supply. And this is a chart of the net flows into the Bitcoin ETFs. We can see every time that people think we're seeing a slowdown in the Bitcoin ETF flows, it just continues to accelerate, continues breaking records, it continues doing what many people thought we would not see. It just continues increasing, going up and to the right, which is incredible to see. It's very nice to see. This train really cannot be stopped. We are winning. Bitcoiners are winning. And I think we're slowly seeing BlackRock be forced to bend the knee to Bitcoin and Bitcoiners. And that is because we're taking action. Okay, we are aggressively draining the exchanges of their Bitcoin. As Dan Griffiths in the chat says, Coinbase are thieves. Strong statement, but I don't like what Coinbase has been doing. But they're going to be forced to bend the knee to Bitcoin because Bitcoiners are taking self-custody of their Bitcoin and they're opting out of the system. They're saying, you know what? I don't care. I want out of this corrupted, centralized model. I don't believe in your political system anymore. I don't believe that voting gives me power. I don't believe that we live under true democracy. That's probably a rabbit hole for another day. But what I will say is my hat's off to the Bitcoiners and the sovereign individuals who are forcing people like BlackRock to bend the knee to Bitcoin and Bitcoiners. Bitcoiners are everywhere. We are winning. Okay? If you are looking to connect with Bitcoiners and the individuals who are winning all around the world, next Bitcoin conference you go to, I always encourage you guys to check out what the Orange Pill app is doing. I think they're a great little products where you can connect with 14,979 other Bitcoiners who use the #1 go-to private application when it comes to connecting with Bitcoiners around the world. I always encourage you guys, stack friends who stack sats. Again, check out what the Orange Pill app is doing. We got a link that takes you straight to their page, link down below in the description. But I think it is because of these 14,000 Bitcoiners on the Orange Pill app or the 35 million digital nomads who have escaped their Western tyrannical regime all around the world. We really are forcing change. We are forcing BlackRock and Coinbase to amend their custody agreements. People are saying enough is enough. People are moving. People are getting out of their tyrannical Western faltering nation states. All Night Hider makes an interesting comment here. Democracy is a dirty word. I think you meant. I much prefer constitutional republic, as do I. Frequency Trader, thank you for the kind words. Appreciate it. You are enjoying the energy that I have with half a voice. I've actually lost my voice over the past couple of days. We would appreciate a smashing of the like button. We have 470 people on YouTube. Let's do some quick maths because we have 1,143 of you guys all up. So that means there would have to be somewhere around 580, 680 people on Twitter. Oof, there's my quick maths. It's terrible. Come on, only 90 likes. Let's get us to 100. We would appreciate that. We're told that that helps push this toxic Bitcoin-only content in front of the eyeballs of more people here on YouTube. Let's answer some more comments about BlackRock. And Coinbase. Before I answer more comments, I want to show you guys what else has been going on with Coinbase and BlackRock. So another little thing that we made a video on about is BlackRock's really interesting new video they made about Bitcoin. This popped out about a month ago and it really caught my radar. It caught my attention, so to say. There's this 3-minute video that BlackRock put out. Everybody was like, oh, this is bullish. BlackRock's put out a bullish video about Bitcoin. But when you really peek beneath the curtain, at the very bottom of this image that I'm showing you, you could see a little bit of a disclaimer, a little bit of a caveat. Now, what's fascinating is when you actually look at the video and you watch the video, you will notice that at the very bottom of the video, there is subtitles for everything that is spoken. So we can see even Michael Saylor tweeted this out. And he said, hey, this is bullish. This is interesting. BlackRock explains Bitcoin. I'm not going to play you the whole video, but you can see there are subtitles with white text and a black border for all of the words in this video. I'm not going to play it out loud with the noise. And again, you know, same thing for the whole video. You could see white words, black back box. Boy, that's a mouthful when you've been talking for 30 minutes. I apologize. But what's really interesting is in the screenshot that I'm about to show you, there's a section in this video where BlackRock is talking about the hard cap supply of Bitcoin, which is a little bit interesting because things are a little bit, BlackRock changed their subtitles for this specific part about the video where they're talking about Bitcoin having a limited supply, which is a little bit interesting. And if we jump on over to that specific screenshot, you can see something a little bit different is seen on this slide here when BlackRock's talking about the 21 million Bitcoin. Oh, all of a sudden, we don't have a black box around the text for the subtitles. We have a little white box. And BlackRock just slid a disclaimer into the video. There is no guarantee that Bitcoin's 21 million supply cap will not be changed. Now, that little disclaimer was not read in the video. It was just slipped in there with a different color. And a lot of people, myself included, was like, hey, what's going on here? Why is BlackRock just sliding little disclaimers into the video like that? Isn't that a little bit suspicious? Don't you think that this is strange? I'm going to play the section of the video. Watch this. So you can see there's the words that are spoken in the video. I don't know whether you guys have audio or not for the video, but you don't necessarily need it because you can see that the words spoken by the narrator, oh, I struggle with that word, with the narrator, they're popping up with the black box. Okay, there is no audio. So all night hider, sorry, thank you for telling me that in chat. But you can see right here, the narrator is reading the words in the black box, but then this little white box just appears. It's just a little caveat. The words are not read. It's just very quickly sliced and diced and penetrated into the video. Discreetly, secretly, I don't know. But again, this is just another one of the dominoes that has fallen. One of the strange things that people are saying, like Archie saying in the chat, suggests that maybe BlackRock has a little bit of a deeper, darker motive or a plan surrounding Bitcoin. Okay, as I was discussing with my man, Ben, who you'll probably meet at some stage here in the not too distant future, the man behind the camera, my right-hand man, we were kind of talking about this off camera before we started today. And we were like, there's a lot of, people saying, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. It's controlled by BlackRock. And again, we make these videos to really kind of dispel the FUD, show you both sides of the argument. Yes, there can be an argument made for why we might see an attack on Bitcoin. But again, that's the pessimistic, the doomer and the gloomer take. There is also a more real take and the side of an argument where I probably fall on by saying, look, yes, it's good to be cognizant of all of these risks and attacks and strange things that BlackRock have talked about and said. But let's not forget, Bitcoin's a proof of work-based system. Doesn't matter if BlackRock controls 2.5% of all of the Bitcoin that have ever been mined. Bitcoin is not proof of stake like Ethereum, like Solana, like all of these centrally controlled shitcoins. That's why we call them shitcoins. They're not decentralized in nature. So again, we need to be really cognizant that, if you hold Bitcoin in your own self-custody, you can really tune out of all of this noise with BlackRock and Coinbase. I think a lot of the noise and the fear that we see being peddled in the space, this is just a speculation on my behalf, but I think a lot of these people, they don't hold their Bitcoin. They hold their Bitcoin in Coinbase or BlackRock. So when they hear these doomer, gloomer, and fearful arguments being made about BlackRock and Coinbase, they naturally pay a lot more attention to that, and they put a lot of weight into that because maybe they don't quite understand the revolution that Bitcoin affords all of us, and that is self-custody. And you only really realize that when you do say self-custody of your Bitcoin. And I know that a lot of you guys take self-custody, which is great. Speaking of you guys, Will in the chat, Bitcoin is a Trojan horse. Trojan horse. I agree with Cooper. A lot of people love to fearmonger about BlackRock. I personally hope I always show you both sides of the argument with BlackRock. I do think that we should be paying very close attention to them, though. I made a lot of videos about BlackRock and Coinbase. I think we should be paying very close attention to these institutions and all of the shady things they are doing and saying. Because sadly, I do think we're going to see a rug pull one day. Again, we saw it with BlockFi, Celsius, FTX. We're going to see it with a Blackrock or a Coinbase. I know, crazy prediction. People called the Bitcoin maximalists crazy in 2021 and 2022 when we said the NFTs are going to go to zero that you own. They're not a store of value. We said, don't trust Celsius, don't trust BlockFi. All the Bitcoin maximalists said, if you don't know where the yield is coming from, you are the yield. Terra Luna. Again, people called me crazy for shitting on all of those products and not recommending any of those products and not partnering with any of those products. But again, guys, I think be careful of Coinbase and BlackRock. Just be very careful. Just trying to read all the comments. There's so many of you guys. Bitcoin's at $97,000. I wouldn't have a clue what the price is. Let me have a look. Let's see what the price of Bitcoin is. A few people are talking about it. Oh, we're dumping, baby. That's why everybody's talking about the price of Bitcoin in the chat. Bitcoin's crashing. It's all over. It's dead. BlackRock and Coinbase have killed Bitcoin. I'm telling you, somebody would make a video on that today. I can guarantee it. One of these crypto scammers is going to be encouraging you guys to 100x leverage short Bitcoin. I didn't know that. We're dumping. It's all over, guys. Pack it up. Bitcoin's dead. I'm joking. Of course, I'm joking. Today's a great buying opportunity. If you are new here, today is an incredible buying opportunity. Go check out the Bitcoin well and go buy some Bitcoin. It's cheap. I'll be buying Bitcoin until it's $1 million a coin. Bitcoin is always cheap. As Michael Saylor says, I'll be buying $1 billion of Bitcoin a day when it's at $1 million per coin. Direct quote from a man with a $9 billion net worth. I think that's the signal right there, guys. Paper hands are going to regret selling. I agree with that comment by Charlie. Zero is the only wrong allocation to Bitcoin. I 100% agree with you. I apologize. I apologize thusly to those waiting around for the live stream. I always struggle a little bit to Oh, I need to restore our man, Rock VTM. How do I do it, Satwise? Tell me how to do it in the chat. He is our channel MVP. I'm gonna try to get Rock VTM back live on air for you guys. Come on, Satwise, what did you do? How did you delete our channel MVP? Maybe we're gonna have to coordinate off air to do that. But I do want Rock VTM back. He's the man. If you're watching Rock VTM, we're going to get you back. Come on, Satwise. What have you done? Oof. There we go. Someone in the chat is buying a lot of Bitcoin. Dude. Bruce, don't tell people your name if you're buying half a Bitcoin. Jesus. Proud of you, dude. It's a big buy. Good to see people are opting out. Whitney. I try not to name people by name, but Elaine here in the chat is talking about somebody who I was thinking about earlier in the live stream. There are a lot of doomers and gloomers who I think don't understand Bitcoin, who have mega audiences of hundreds of thousands of followers, who are being told propaganda that I don't think is wrong, which is why we make these videos about BlackRock and Coinbase for you guys. I love Whitney Webb. I think she's great. I try not to name and shame people, but she's definitely a doomer and gloomer when it comes to Bitcoin. Again, she's actually changed her tune slightly on Bitcoin over the past 12 months. And she might actually be a lot more positive than the perception she puts out there. But I know she scared a lot of people off from Bitcoin because I've got the messages. Oh, Whitney Webb told me not to buy it. Do your own work, guys. Never trust anyone. Don't trust me. I think that's a good note to end today's stream on. Never trust anyone. Go verify for yourself and go buy some more Bitcoin. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys.